Welcome to the Ultimate Music Teacher's Productivity and Profitability Podcast. I'm your host, Glory St. Germain. Tune in to discover how you can unleash your teaching potential and turn your passion for music education into profit. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Ultimate Music Teacher's Podcast. I'm your host, Glory St. Germain, and today we have a special guest, Shauna Hunter. Now, Shauna is an Ultimate Music Theory Certified Teacher, a grad of the UMTC Elite Educator Program, an RCM Certified Piano Teacher, and an integral part of the teacher support team at Ultimate Music Theory. She's known for her fun and interactive approach to teaching music. And like many of us, she adores music, family, and of course, chocolate. That's why we're best friends. So let's dive into our conversation. Welcome, Shauna.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. And you know, I think they should put chocolate as one of the basic food groups. It's a necessity.
It's totally a necessity. I'm a dark chocolate girl. I can't live without it. And it's just, it's a main food group. So I agree with you, Shauna. It's pretty funny. So, Shauna, tell us a little bit about your journey into music education. What sparked your love of teaching music?
Well, I have always loved music. It's just been a source of inspiration for me and a source of calm when there's a storm, and it's just a place to find joy. And then I also love children, just love working with kids. And why not put the two of them together? Like, that's just the perfect plan for me.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I know that you've been a champion of the Ultimate Music Theory approach. How have the materials maybe transformed the way that you teach music theory?
Oh my goodness. When I first found the Ultimate Music Theory books, I was just beyond thrilled because theory when I was learning was just boring and tedious, and I hated it. And so I didn't really include a whole lot in my teaching. I just hoped that we would absorb it as we learned through the pieces that we were playing. But then I found your books and I was like, these are so easy to understand and step by step. It's like learning music theory with the lights on instead of doing it in the dark like I was doing it.
Oh, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Well, I remember you sharing a story with me one day when you thought, well, I don't know, should I be retiring from teaching or should I just keep doing what I love to do? And I remember you sharing that your husband was saying, listen, Shauna, I just hear you laughing in the next room when you're teaching. So maybe you should just keep teaching and having fun doing that, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he thinks I should never retire now.
Yeah. And I agree. Yeah. I think when we love what we do, it's all the more reason to stick with it. And so, Shauna, in your experience, how has the Gen A students changing kind of the landscape of music education, and how do you adapt your teaching style to engage them differently, perhaps?
Well, these Gen A students, I call them Gen A. I know I've heard them called the I generation because they have iPads and iPhones. I've also heard them called screen agers.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
They're also used to having everything on a screen and just coming at them full time, like blast, 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 constant stimulation, just all over the place. And to expect them to sit still on a piano bench for 45 minutes or an hour lesson, it's impossible for them. It's just physically impossible. So, and mentally too, like their focus just needs to move around. That's just the way their brains have been wired just from doing all this screen time, which I don't know. Some people say it's a bad thing, but maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's stimulating their brains to think in different ways and pick up new ideas and see possibilities. So I try to tailor my lessons to suit that kind of learning. I know it was easier to teach the other way. Like, let's be honest, it's easier to just say, sit down, learn, do this, and we're done. But now we have more fun, for sure. And I try to break my lessons into segments so that they're shorter, more impactful. I try to use a multimedia approach. So it's not just you and the piano, it's the piano. We use YouTube, we use games, we use all kinds of different things. And there's been a lot of talk about off the bench activities. So we do lots of things like that. And I try to include some interactive elements, like I have a drum. We use a drum to discover the rhythm in things. Or I'll get them up and teach them how to do a waltz or a minuet so that we're moving around the room. Sometimes we use a whole body approach. So instead of learning the music by sight reading it, we will turn it on, play it in the background, and do some sort of physical movement so that it kind of gets absorbed physically before we actually approach it with sight and our comprehension. I also will use a whiteboard a lot. Kids love to write on a whiteboard. So we'll work things out on the whiteboard and then go to the piano and figure how it works there. I use chimes and handbells so that it's not all piano. We can go over and learn the melody on the chimes, and then it's already in their head. And then when they get to the piano, it's easier for them to find it there. We use a ball. We'll throw it up in the air or throw it back and forth and see if we can keep rhythm with the ball. That's one thing. And then there's all the games and things that are available out there. There's the most amazing sheep game is actually a music game. And Rhythm Cat, I use that a bit. Staff Wars, the boys actually love Staff Wars because it kind of integrates Star Wars and note recognition. So they love that. I also use a ton of the games that are found in the music theory teachers membership. There's so much available there online. And every month there's like a new set of games. So it keeps it fresh. The kids love it. And that one is done on screens and they love the screens. So we sometimes play detective. So I'll play them a little piece of the music and say, okay, where did that come from in the music? And they have to go and find it. Or I'll ask them to play something and then I have to go find it. So we'll go back and forth like that. And that works really well. I have dice that we use. We will put little markers on the ends of the piano and roll a dice, and you can go however many steps that was, and you have to tell me the name of the note before you can move on. And it's a race to see who can get to the other end of the piano first. So we do things like that. It adds a lot of fun and interest to the lesson, and the kids just eat it up. And I think they actually learn faster and more completely. They actually are getting into the music in a way that is more than just cerebral. It's going right through them all the way.
You're just blowing me away, Shauna. And for those of you taking notes out there, you may want to rewind the podcast and write this down because these are incredible tips, Shauna. And thank you so much for sharing them, because one of the things that you just making me think so much is that so often we get stuck in doing the same thing the same way because our teacher did it like that with us. And then, we get into the rut, and then we wonder why our students are quitting or why they're not engaged or why they don't practice. And then we get exhausted and, we're just going through the motions. We get paid to teach, and we do love to teach, but we get bored with ourselves. And the ideas that you've shared are I have a smile on my face because I'm like, well, how much fun is piano with Shauna? I want to go sign up for lessons with you, because all these different ideas that I never really know what I'm going to expect when I come into a lesson. Are we going to be standing up and engaging and playing some bells? Are we going to be dancing? Are we going to be, do I get to be the teacher and ask you to play a piece for me? This really is a difference maker. It's a game changer in music education and for teachers and ultimate music teachers. In fact, this is probably the most important thing for you to, number one, be open to your own professional development, but number two, be open to trying new ideas, because until you try them, you can't say, well, that doesn't work for me. Well, if you haven't tried it, you don't really know. And I think one of the things that I always admire about you, Shauna, is that you show up for your students. You show up for other teachers, and not only are you there to listen, but you're also there to share what's worked for you and just to kind of share your ideas. So thank you for that. And, I think too, humor is a great way to connect with students, and you obviously do that very well. So I'll put you on the spot, and can you share a funny or a memorable moment from maybe one of your music classes?
Well, I have a favorite that just happened not long ago. I was teaching this little 5-year-old girl, and we were learning a song about unicorns. And she happened to love unicorns. Like, she has little boots with sparkly unicorns on them. So we were talking about unicorns and how this music can sparkle like the unicorns do. And then she looks at me and says, "Did you know that there are no unicorns on Earth? They don't live on our planet." And I said, "Oh, you're right. I've never seen a unicorn." And then she leans in like she's got the biggest secret and says, "They live in Saskatchewan." So next time you're in Saskatchewan, look for the unicorns.
That is too funny. So she obviously is living in Alberta, Canada.
Yes.
And she believes that the unicorns are in Saskatchewan, Canada.
Yeah, that's right. And not on our planet.
Oh, and not on our planet. Right. No, they're not on our planet. Oh my gosh. And out of the mouths of babes, that is hilarious. I think too, and it just makes us laugh out loud, right? Because they don't know. But unicorns, I mean, it is magical, right? And just to share that experience, and, it's also about their imagination. And when you're doing composing, with her, you might say, today, we're going to write a song for the unicorns so that they could sing it. And, where are we going to start, and how are we going to create the magic, and what does magic sound like on a piano, and, all those little things, and what kind of instrument makes you think of magical things more than any other. Right. So there's it just opens everything up. So if you were to think of a unicorn, what instrument would you think of for yourself, Shauna?
I would think of a harp. Yeah. Just that nice, flowing, magical sound.
Yeah, it's true. Like, it really makes us think a lot. So cool. So, we all have that one person who deeply influences our path. Who's maybe been your greatest mentor in your music education career, and what's amusing or unexpected lesson that they've taught you?
When I was about 7 or 8 years old, we moved in next door to a Belgian concert pianist by the name of Luke Bergmans. She was just a little bundle of energy and an excellent pianist. And because we were next door, I ended up taking piano lessons from her. And that really shaped everything for me, because she was passionate about her music. She helped me learn in ways that I absorbed and didn't know I was learning. So it was really great that way. And just she's just been great for me. In fact, when I took my theory exam, the first time I took a theory exam, I came out of it and thought, that was so easy. How can people think that's so hard? And I don't even remember taking theory lessons with her. So it was done in a way that wasn't painful. Mm-hmm. Wasn't exciting for me. I obviously didn't remember it. I remember the lessons anyway. But yeah, she really was the one who started me on the path of music.
And I think, music teachers have such an impact on their students, because when we think about public schools, every year you have a different teacher for different subjects. You don't even have the same teacher all day. You keep changing. And yet, as music teachers, we have the same students not only every week, but sometimes for years and years and years. And I know for myself that I had my music teacher in Winnipeg. And for 1 year, my family decided we were going to move to a small town in Morris, Manitoba, just outside of Winnipeg, about an hour and a half away or so. And I remember being, I was only maybe 10 years old at the time, but I remember sitting there like, arms crossed and looking at my mom and saying, if I don't get to go to my piano teacher in Winnipeg, I quit piano lessons, because I just loved her. And the lessons were fun and so engaging. And so my dad said, well, let's keep driving her to Winnipeg, because number one, she wants to take music lessons and she's good at it and she loves her teacher and so on. And he said, and I always have little things, errands that I can run, while I'm in town. So bless my dad's heart, every single week we would have an entire evening that started at 4, driving an hour and a half to my piano teacher. I was there for 2 hours because I was doing an hour of piano and an hour of theory, and then drive an hour and a half back home. And of course, we had to drive through the Dairy Queen and get ice cream for the drive home. But it was part of the lesson. It was, it was a must be. But I think when you have that impact with your students, they love you, and that's why they stay with you. And in addition to your role as a teacher, you really have several roles that you're balancing. You're a music educator, you're a UMTC Elite Educator, in fact, and you're also teacher support with our Ultimate Music Teachers program. So when you look at sort of your busy life, how do you manage these responsibilities while keeping up, the joy of teaching music?
And without going crazy.
and without going crazy. We should add that note in there.
Yeah, and there are some who would argue that I might be a little crazy too.
Exactly.
I think the way I manage it is I'm a planner. I like everything laid out, planned in advance. So I have time slots. Obviously, for my lessons, I have time slots for those. I have time slots planned for planning lessons. And I have time set aside for my ultimate music theory responsibilities, whatever I'm doing there.
Yeah.
And I also plan all my meals for the week. I actually have a 4-month plan for meals.
4 months, you're going to be having a tuna sandwich 4 months from now on a Tuesday.
That's right. Call me crazy, but I don't have to spend time wondering what I'm doing for dinner.
Yeah.
And I go to the grocery store and I already know exactly what I need to get. So it helps me to stay organized.
Yeah. Wow. And I appreciate that. I'm a planner as well. And I know some people wonder, and you and I share this, Shauna, some people wonder, like, we all have the same number of hours in a day. So how is it that some people get so much done and other people don't, even though they have the same intention? And you just really nailed it. And that is planning. And I had a smile on my face when you were saying, and then I have planning time to plan, which is true. I'm like that too. I don't do any business meetings on Sundays. It's my time to plan. And it's also my reflection time with my family and so on. But we need to take time to plan if we really want to be successful in our teaching, in our business. And it saves so much time if you do, especially with teachers, we're busy working on your meal plan. I love that idea, whether you do it for the week or you do it for 4 months like Shauna does, but it's a great idea to plan. What's your secret sauce to your planning strategy?
I don't know that there is a secret sauce. It's just that it's the only way I know I'm going to get it done. If it's not in the plan, it's not going to get done. I even plan like time for my family so that I'm not leaving them behind, because they are an important part of my life too.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's really important too, is to plan that. So when you're looking at your calendar, and I know I've got a thing inside our UMTC Elite Educator Program, and it's called the Perfect Week. And I learned that technique a long time ago, and I use a Google Calendar. And I put in my perfect week. And that doesn't mean that it's never going to change, but at least you have a plan. And I also use color coding in my calendar so that I can see this is family time. And this is my teaching time, my coaching time, my business time. And the reason I like using color coding is that I can see at a glance, wow, I have like 0 time in there for my family. That doesn't work. Let's fix that. Let's make sure we got movie night or, date night or whatever it might be. So that's really great advice. We really do need to plan, make a plan to make a plan.
The other thing that helps is telling jokes. I love to laugh. And so
Yes.
in like my theory club classes, every class starts with a joke, and we assign the joke telling to somebody new each week. So they all get turns. That's their favorite part of class, I think.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna steal that.
I'll tell you the joke from this week that was my favorite. What do you get when you cross a hummingbird and a doorbell?
A
A
hummingbird.
humdinger.
Oh. Okay, I got one for you. All right, it's joke time with Shauna and Glory. What is Beethoven's favorite fruit?
Oh, tell me.
Banana.
Of course. What else would it be?
Yeah. So, speaking of music and speaking of composers, what's a piece of music or a composer that never fails to inspire you and why?
Oh, my favorite composer is Debussy. His ability to paint pictures with music notes is just amazing. And he's got music in all different moods. So whether you're looking for something fun and jaunty like Gollywog's Cakewalk, or if you need something peaceful and calm like Le Petit Berger, a love story like Theo Schwudelin, these are all favorites for me. Whatever mood I need, I can go and play it, and it makes me feel good. If we get to meet composers in the hereafter, that's the first one I want to go see.
I'm gonna go check them out. You know what I just love about what you just said is that he has the ability to paint a picture with music notes. That's really cool.
Yeah.
When you listen to music and it actually puts you into, a memory or creates a vision for where you are, what you see, how you feel, what you think about, that's powerful.
Absolutely. And that's what I try to get my students to project through their music, is to create that feeling or that picture. So I don't know if we succeed all the time, but we try.
But we do, yes. Well, and we do, and we have some fun too, So, Shauna, if you could have a music-themed superpower, what would it be, and how would you use it in your teaching?
Oh my goodness. If I could have a musical superpower, I would want the kind of voice that can just inspire everyone and make them want nothing more than music in their lives. Now, the reason I'm a piano player is because I can't sing. I mean, I can sing sort of, but it's not beautiful.
I thought your superpower might be turning into a unicorn, but I wasn't sure.
That could be fun too.
That would be fun. And as a music educator, what do you think is the most rewarding feedback that you've ever received from a student or a parent?
I think the most rewarding feedback is when they come after they've been with me for years and say, I will never forget you. You have had such a powerful influence on my life, not just in music, but also in kindness and the way that you live your life. And the way that we've interacted has been so great. And that warms my heart.
Mm-hmm. And I think that brings us full circle to how we start with that young person and sometimes have them for, 10, 15 years, even if they're stay with you for that long. And you do. And sometimes I think you impact students in ways that they don't necessarily even share with you all the time. But I have a quick story to share with you, Shauna. So one of my students who's been with me for many, many, many years completed her grade 9 piano. She got 90% on her grade 9 piano. And she's graduating from high school, and she was asked to give the speech at graduation. And her mom and dad were there, and her brothers and sisters were there, and I was at the back. And she started her speech off, and I could see her mom, sitting in several rows ahead of me. And she said, I really want to share the most impactful person in guiding me through my life. And I could see her mom sitting up a little taller because, she knew she was going to be talking about her mom. And she went on and on about the impact, about responsibility, and about doing due diligence and all of these accolades. And at the end, and her mom was almost ready to stand up and take a bow because her mom was so proud that she had had this profound effect on her beautiful daughter. And she said, and that person is my piano teacher, Glory St. Germain. And I just about fell out of the chair. And her mom turned around and looked at me and went, hey, that was supposed to be my moment. Anyway, we had a good laugh about it, but it just goes to show you that you don't really know. And I was completely blown away. I mean, I had no idea that this was happening, but it was funny. And I realized, wow, and to this day, she is still close to me. She's now married. She's running a company on her own, and she will still, text me every now and then and say, hey, Miss Glory, how are you doing? I'm doing this, this, and this. And, she's very, high up in her company now. And I'm just blown away by what she's accomplished, but she's still playing the piano. And, so there you go. You just never know. But it was a proud moment for me, taking a bow rather than her mom. It was funny.
Well, and it's awesome that we can connect with these kids on such a deep level.
Yeah, absolutely. So finally, Shauna, what's your message to other music teachers who strive to make a difference in their students' lives, and especially in today's dynamic educational environment?
I think the best message that has helped me is don't try to make your kids learn the way you teach. You need to teach the way they learn. So, which it can mean going crazy and playing games and doing all the fun things that I do. And maybe you'll just have more fun even.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing.
And that's a good thing. And that's how you're going to keep your students engaged too. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. So Shauna, I am just thrilled with everything that you've shared, and thanks for all the laughs today. How can people connect with you and learn more about our UMT program?
Well, you can find me on Facebook at Piano with Shauna, and my website is pianowithshauna.com. And if you want to connect with me through Ultimate Music Theory, you can do that at ultimatemusictheory.com. Mm-hmm. And I am part of the membership there. I'm one of the elite educators. I do everything with Glory that I can because she's so awesome.
Thank you. Well, and you can also connect with Shauna inside our Ultimate Music Teachers Facebook group. She's always there supporting educators, and it's wonderful to connect because we're no longer solopreneurs. We're entrepreneurs that really strive and rise together in our community. And I think that's one of the things that we love the most, right, Shauna, about our Ultimate Music Teachers membership is the community that we're growing. And I think we should change one thing, though, that I really like what you said, Shauna, and that's you start each one with a joke. So inside our Ultimate Music Teachers membership, we have a weekly coaching call, and we always start our coaching calls off with our weekly wins, but maybe we should start them off with a weekly joke. So I'll call on you to do the first joke in our next call, Shauna.
All right. I'll have one for you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you again, Shauna, for sharing your insights and experiences with us. Your journey and dedication to music education are so inspiring. And to our listeners, keep spreading the joy of music, and remember that every lesson is a step towards enriching lives through music education. So stay tuned for more incredible episodes of the Ultimate Music Teachers Productivity and Profitability Podcast. If you like this episode, be sure to subscribe, comment, share, and join our Ultimate Music Teachers community. Till next time, teach with passion. Thanks for listening to the Ultimate Music Teachers Productivity and Profitability Podcast. Together, we can transform lives through the power of music education. I invite you to explore what's possible for your musical journey inside our UMT community. Simply join our Ultimate Music Teachers private Facebook group, where we network, answer questions, host live events, and connect on a deeper level. Here's to your ultimate music teaching success with productivity and profitability. Till next time, teach with passion.